If you want to learn how to protect your idea once you're manufacturing in China, please watch this video. Okay, I'm back. We're doing these back to back to back because these videos are so important, especially on this topic about manufacturing over in China. And how do you do it? And I've got the expert here, Steven. You're going to tell us exactly what to do. But on this topic today, I want to talk about protection because I'm scared that my product's going to get ripped off. How do I protect myself? How do I know that that manufacturer you just brought me to that's going to maybe sell my product out the back door? Do I have any protection at all?
Yeah, but there's practical protections and there's legal protections.
Okay.
Now, legal protections, I know you're very familiar with, patents, trademarks, often overlook copyrights. So if you're doing something made with fabric, copyright the fabric design
Okay.
and so on. So we don't need to go too deep into that, except to point out that your trademark and your patents are constrained by the borders of the country that it's issued in. Your US patent doesn't apply in China.
Okay.
Your trademark in the US doesn't apply in China. So you want to get them filed in both the US and in China.
Got it.
And there are some additional reasons, particularly for your trademark, that's a little bit shady. So I said we already know that, but I'm going to jump into both patents and trademarks to a slight degree. First of all, for patents, there's three types of patents, not two. There's a design patent, a utility patent, and an inventor's patent, or invention patent. But in each of the cases, they cost less and they're a lot more quick to get than US patents. The reason why is because in the US, there's an entire evaluation stage. In China, you can have your patent issued without evaluation. And then if there's some sort of suit conflict, you get the evaluation. So this puts it in your hand a lot faster. For trademark, this is really interesting. If you've got a product that's not doing well, or more importantly, a brand that's not doing well, nobody cares. But if you've got a brand that's doing well and you don't have a trademark, there is a side hustle here among Chinese working at different factories or just keeping their eyes on exports. And if something's going out of the port that's not trademarked, they'll trademark that name. US is a first to use country. China's a first to file country. So if they file that trademark, even though you're using it, they now own that trademark.
Ooh.
And there's quite a few famous stories, big time sneaker company and so on, that had to stop doing their production in China because every time they went to ship product out, their friendly extortionist would say, "Thank you very much. We need another $5,000 per container." Okay. And this happens a lot. So you make sure to get your trademark. But now this is where things get a little fun. The reason they can do that in China is because these bad actors do something called recordation. They record your trademark with Chinese customs. And Chinese customs looks at shipping. If you're not the consignee or the importer of record, they'll hold you up because it's a trademark. All right. Of course, you do the same thing for yourself. So if anyone else tries to sell your stuff and get it out of the country, it will be stopped because you own the trademark. And then when you get to the US, you do the same thing. All right. So that if somebody slips someone, a red envelope and they let this container go out the dock, when it gets to the US, you make sure to record your trademark with US Customs and Border Protection. It costs $190 for 10 years. Best $19 you'll ever spend. And now if someone else is bringing it in, it gets seized. So there's very easy, practical protection that a lot of people don't do. And we're still just talking about trademarks and patents. There's more as well.
So the strategy would be to file for intellectual property in the United States. That's going to be my big market, but also file in China. Is it best to find? I mean, how do I do that? Do I just tell my patent attorney here, find an associate in China, which they do? Or should I find my own patent attorney in China myself and have them do it? What do you recommend?
I recommend everyone have an attorney and then talk to your attorney. Your attorney
Do the
should
best
have
way.
some sort
Okay,
of co-counsel in China,
got it. Okay,
and let them do that because it also allows them to share information. It's a lot less work. They
absolutely.
don't need to be copying each other's work.
Got it. All right, let's talk about this thing called an NNN. What is it? You mentioned it before. I've heard about it. It sounds like a great tool. Tell me what it is.
So every country interprets laws differently. In China, an NDA doesn't cover all possibilities of how someone could use your product. First and foremost, if you've got an NDA on something and then you start selling it in a store, online, and so on, that NDA is no longer enforceable. So it's just a piece of paper. It's hot here. I'm in Bangkok. So you really want to make sure that the factory you're working with doesn't create this and then sell it to other people.
Okay.
So now your NDA is your first N in an NNN. The second N prevents them from selling it to other people. And then the third N, non-circumvent, prevents them from going around you and talking to your own clients and saying, hey, we can do this for
Hey,
you. Not really used for people like you and I, but for distributors, that's a really big.
why don't we have them here? That sounds like a great tool for us to have here in the United States. I like that non-circumvent. I love that.
I love it too, but I'm not going to pay an attorney 3 hours worth of attorney's time to give me an answer.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I visit the factory. We talked a little bit about meeting the factory, about negotiating price, but I go to the factory, and when do I I sign the NNN? When do I actually show my product to them for them to manufacture? Is that when I do that?
Once, once they have signed the NNN and you have signed the NNN and exchanged that. It's not like the US where, oh, we made the NDA, someone signs it and sends it to you. Both of you have signed.
Got it.
So
Okay.
after both of you have signed, you're now protected. You can show them
Oh, I love
that
it.
information. And
Wow.
you can go through all the details. You can go over the prototype. Now you can start. There's a few things that are going to happen here. One, you're going to get a good understanding of what the manufacturing process is for your product, what the cost is, and so on. And two, and now I know engineers are going to cringe when I say this, but two, you go into DFM, design for manufacturing. There's a lot of engineers that have gone through school, and when they get tests and assessments, the last step is DFM. Make sure that you're making sure everything's done perfectly and it's tweaked to be. No, in practical cases, DFM means that this is the type of machinery we have, and this is the best way of making sure that it works most effectively on the equipment we have, or these are the workers we have. So examples of DFM would be adding a small notch that most people wouldn't see, just to make sure when the workers are putting something in, they're always lined up at the right part. Putting a tiny little hole into the mold so you can attach a hang tag. If you have something, I don't have a hairbrush for obvious reasons, but if you're doing something with bristles, like a roller and a vacuum cleaner or something, if their machinery is Chinese machinery, then you have to make sure that the molds put little holes in there for bristles. If it's German, the holes get punched. This DFM is a stage that should be occurring right there with the factory engineers. So you get to go through that. The other thing is there's a whole experience of visiting that factory, something we should go into, but we want to stay on protection right now. So one other addition to DFM that I personally recommend, if you can, if you're doing something with plastic injection is, plastic is melted, liquefied, put into these molds. Molds are put together, pulled off, opens up, out it drops. Put on there, because you have to say made in China anyway, put on there, made in China, exclusively for widgets are us
Hmm.
and a little trademark. This way, every single piece has
Oh,
your trademark on it.
got it. That's
And
nice.
this also helps prevent people from, going out the back door and selling on the streets of whatever city.
Nice.
So get that imprinted as well. That's just, it's doesn't cost another dime,
Okay,
but that's again, get that done as part of your commitment.
wonderful. Wow, we're going to do a couple more of these. Stephen, thank you so much for how to protect yourself when you're manufacturing over in China. This is Stephen Key. Thank you for watching InventRight TV. Okay, you've got a great idea, but you're not quite sure exactly what to do. And you want the pros to do it, and you want the pros to do all of it. Please consider reaching out to us on Gateway, where we handle everything for you. We will find those right companies, we'll find those right people, and make sure your product is pitched correctly to get the licensing deal. It's called Gateway. Please check it out.